they step out of the Garden of Eden into this sandy, rocky, terrifying, and utterly unfamiliar wasteland. And while they're kind of hanging out outside, the cherub is placed by the gate of the garden. I'm not talking Renaissance baby angel cherub. I'm talking about the second highest in the hierarchy of angels. This is not a baby angel. That came about more during the Renaissance. A cherub in this context is a terrifying warrior angel. And Adam and Eve are waiting outside the garden while the cherub is like placed there. And they look back longingly at the garden, and the cherub gives them the world's first death glare. Straight up, the world's first death glare. He doesn't kill them, but he does glare at them so intensely that they again collapse in fear. Because they think that he is going to kill them with his flaming sword that he has. But he doesn't. Actually, he sees them collapse in terror, and he's like, oh man, you guys really are having a bad time. And he prays, and he's like, hey, God, they're like freaking out. I want to do something about this. They are like super helpless, man. God again sends the word to comfort them, gets him off the ground, and God is like, okay, Adam, you're out here. You have to be out here for 5.5 days, and then I will send the word that created thee. Again, presumably Jesus. I will send Jesus to earth. He doesn't literally mean 5.5 days as in like 132 hours. He means the heavenly day. It's like 1,000 years. A day on earth is 1,000 years in heaven. I don't know how many denominations believe that, but that's what I was told at points. So he means 5.5 days. He means like at some point in the next 5,500 years, I'm gonna send the word, Jesus, down. Adam does not understand this because, again, he just said 5.5 days, and Adam doesn't really even know what a day is very well, so he thinks that God is saying, you have 5.5 days to live, and then I will kill you. Adam starts crying because he's freaking out, and he's like, what do you mean? And God's like, no. Millennial days, heaven days, 5,500 years. Relax. Adam does not relax. They don't relax for, like, the whole book so far. But God does say, he's like, I just mean, the word is going to come for your salvation. I'm not gonna just smash you flat in 5 days, okay? Breathe, Adam. God is in, well, they don't really describe God in this book. But Adam does calm down at least about this one thing. God is like, okay, we're good. Go live in the Cave of Treasures. Adam is not into the Cave of Treasures. He's like, this is a prison. This is a place of punishment. It is tiny. We used to have all this space in the garden. We could just like wander wherever. This is a prison. This is horrible. This is horrible. This is cramped and it's dark and I cannot see. That really bothers them. Again, I do not blame them because in the Garden of Eden, apparently, they could see everything all the time. They could even see up to heaven. They could see the angels singing praises to God. And now they are in a cave and all they can see is the rock ceiling, except they can't even see that because it's dark in here. They have never experienced darkness. They have never not been able to see. They are terrified. But also, they're like, God did just tell us to go live in the cave, and the last time we didn't do what he said, we ended up here. So I guess we have to do this. Let's not make him any angrier. So they go into the cave in the darkness, and they do not like it. They go into the cave, and Adam immediately passes out from terror again, because, again, he can no longer see heaven. He can just see the roof of the cave. You know, considering their first reaction to seeing rocks, and the cave is a big old rock, they're not having a good time with this. So he starts crying until he passes out, and Eve, this I think is the first time that Adam has collapsed and Eve has not. Eve has never seen him like this and is like, he's dead, and I'm alone, and he's dead. And so she starts crying and she prays and she's like, God, if he is dead, could you please either bring him back or kill me too, because I don't want to be alone in this horrible mortal world. God does apparently not get offended, you know, at their dislike of the mortal world, which, you know, it is a punishment. I think God knows that it kind of sucks there. Bet they're thinking about that. Oh, they never stop thinking about the fruit. Eve is crying and freaking out because she thinks Adam is dead, and she really doesn't want to be alone, and goes a little bit Romeo and Juliet and just collapses sobbing on Adam's body. In terms of crisis management, if you take a little bit to cry it out first, sometimes that's a solid way to process it. But also, I think it's hard for them to process because they've never had to process suffering before. And God is like, oh, okay, guys. He has to just hold their hand through this whole thing because they don't know what's going on. And he sends his word again to get Adam up. He's like, okay, guys, look, you did this to yourselves. This is a punishment. I told you not to eat the fruit and you ate the fruit. You listened to Satan. You broke the one rule I gave you. I didn't want to do this to you, but you have to be punished for your actions. He's still kind of mad. Adam and Eve just start sobbing again. But according to the text, quote, they strengthened their hearts because they saw how God to them was like a parent, which I don't know how they know really what a parent is, considering they don't have any kids yet and there are no other people They don't know what parents are. They were made out of clay and a rib, respectively. But now, feeling this kind of parental sternness from God, they calm down a little bit. I don't know why that would make them calm down, but God is like, look, Adam, I promised you I was going to save you and all of humanity from that transgression. I'm not going to go back on that. You can't go back to the garden, but I'm not going to go back on redeeming you. That's, though, not Adam's main concern right now. Adam's main concern is that the beasts of the land are going to kill them and eat them. All those animals God created in the Garden of Eden, Adam had like dominion over them. The animals were obedient to him. He didn't have to worry because they would not eat him because they were obedient to him. But now they are no longer subject unto him. And in his anger, God may have told him that the beasts were going to eat him. God kind of feels bad for that now, being less angry, and he's like, okay, they're not really gonna eat you. All the animals come here. The animals all come over. God commanded the beasts and the birds and all that moves upon the earth not to trouble Adam and Eve or their posterity. As long as said posterity is good and righteous, everybody meet, this is Adam and Eve. They live in the mortal world now. Don't hurt them, okay? So all the animals come over and meet Adam and Eve and like promise not to hurt them, except the snake. The snake is not invited. He doesn't let the snake come to the party because God is mad at the snake. And also, Adam and Eve already had kind of a bad experience with the snake. Watch out for tigers. Gotta go. While God's there, Adam's like, hey, so we could see in the garden, we could like see heaven and stuff. We could see all the angels praising you, and there's a rock ceiling and I can no longer see anything. And God is like, yeah, you're being punished. And leaves. So, Adam and Eve head out of the cave and go again to just like look longingly at the Garden of Eden. They don't know what else to do. It's not like hobbies had been invented yet. All they can do is just sit in their feelings and look at everything they lost, which sounds absolutely miserable. Frankly, that sounds horrible. So they head out of the cave, they go to look at the Garden of Eden, and they stand there and they cry for a little bit. Understandable. Before they go around to the southern side of the garden to find the place where the sea is and find the water that watered the Garden of Eden from the root of the tree of life, and they see where it splits into 4 rivers. And here, those who are familiar with Genesis in the Bible might see some parallels because they mention these 4 rivers, which are kind of a thing throughout the Bible. Not throughout the Bible, but like it's a thing. We are not sure what precisely these 4 rivers are, but these are the same 4 rivers that are mentioned in Genesis 2, presumably. Pishon, Gishon, Hiddekel, and Perat. Sorry for my Hebrew pronunciation, but those are the names like in the Bible. Most rabbinic scholars agree that the Hiddekel is the Tigris River and the Perat is the Euphrates River. Those are legit rivers that we know of. How did they know it was 4? I don't know. Presumably God taught them to count at least a little bit, like at least to 10 or maybe something like that. I don't know what system they used. So there is some consensus with those first 2. The other 2 are a little bit more controversial. The Pishon might refer to the Nile or the Ganges River, or maybe even the Indus River, which are rivers that were around for some of the very, very earliest human civilizations. Probably Windows -6000. The Gishon is Gichan. Whatever, I'm not good at Hebrew pronunciation. I am sorry to everyone who speaks Hebrew. The 4th river, we don't know where it is. It might be the Blue Nile in Ethiopia and Sudan. It might be. Maybe. Nobody knows. Back to Adam and Eve, though. They notice that this original river is the water that's coming forth from the tree of life. And Adam starts crying again and gets mad at Eve. He's like, you ate the fruit. Why did you eat the fruit and get us kicked out of the garden? Like, why would you do that? Look at this. We didn't even think about this when we were in the garden, but now it is vital to our survival. We could have been so happy and innocent and blissful in our ignorance. Eve starts crying too, and they're both crying so hard. They're so upset that they fall into the river and try to drown themselves in it, and God sees them falling in the river and drowning and is like, come on, you guys. And he sends an angel to get them out of the water, and the angel comes back and he's like, they're dead, man. And God is like, all right. And he sends the word again to bring them back to life. And he's like, you guys are being punished. This isn't supposed to be nice. And Adam's like, but can we go back to the Garden of Eden? Like, can we try again? We'll do better this time. And God is like, no, you're being punished. But within the next 5,500 years, I will bring you and your righteous posterity back into the garden, okay? And you will be saved and redeemed. Within the next 5,500 years, you're gonna be redeemed. All right? Chill out, and leaves.